I am your typical medical type A person. So I I would consider myself efficient. I'm a good multitasker. But honestly, I think my superpower right now is I have a nurse that's working with me who's incredible. And she is just as driven and motivated to make this business a success as I am.
Hey there, you've reached the Serving Senior Podcast. This is the podcast where we highlight those businesses and individuals that help seniors not just survive, but thrive in retirement. And today we have another one of those awesome businesses and individuals, Miss Emily Manning, and she is the owner of homeRN, and she's going to share with you what she does, how she serves seniors, and also too where she does it. Emily, thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. That's great. You just shared with me you've had a very productive Monday, so I'm excited for you. This girl can get some stuff done.
Oh yeah, efficiency is everything.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate you carving some time out for us. And when I first met you and you shared with us what you did, I was like, gosh, we got to get her on the podcast because we know a lot of people that do in-home care, non-medical.
Right.
But it's much harder to find people to do in-home care medical.
Yeah.
And I want to get your message out. So thanks for being here. Maybe if you could take us, Emily, from where you're from, what you've done in the past, and bring us up to speed, how you got to where you are today.
Absolutely. Yes. So I am originally from Alabama.
Okay.
And then grew up there, went to college at Ole Miss.
Got it.
Then basically, I always knew I wanted to be in medicine. And while I was in college, I learned about physician assistants and felt called to that. I just felt like that was the right move for me. So went to PA school in Birmingham, Alabama. And then my first job was in Atlanta, Georgia as a urology physician assistant, which I don't know if anyone plans to get in urology. I definitely did not. It just kind of happened that way, but
Sure.
A huge blessing, and I learned a ton. And then overall, I spent 5 years in urology. 2 of those were in Atlanta, 3 were in Franklin, Tennessee, and then had a little bit of a big job change, and switched to working with 2 breast surgeons that we dealt with primarily breast cancer patients.
Okay.
So it was a big shift, but it was also a huge blessing. It was an incredibly rewarding job. Really felt called to that, to serving that kind of community. But I actually had just had my second child and was feeling a bit burnout with clinic life. Just was kind of trying to figure out what my next move was. I felt like it was time to either maybe look for a new job or new career as a PA. There's a few other options that PAs can do, but really, I mean, I have to say it was God. I was sitting at my house one day and I'd heard about this franchise called homeRN. 2 of my friends, from one that I grew up with and one that I lived with previously, had opened separate ones in Alabama.
Okay.
I followed them. I knew that they were providing medical caregiving, which was always very interesting to me, but I just felt like God was going, hey, you should look into that. Franklin needs that. I mean, when I worked in Franklin, especially with urology patients, I mean, there were so many times where families would go, what do we do with this catheter? What do? We don't know. We want them to come home, but we don't know what to do with it. IV antibiotics, all these things. So I had seen that firsthand. And when I saw it, of course, there was never a part of me that was like, oh, I need to do this.
Right.
But it was funny. It just kind of came up and I said, hey, I think we could use something like that in this area. So long story short, I reached out to them. They were already opening a franchise in Nashville.
Okay.
But they wanted to open one in Franklin too. So it was just kind of one of those funny things that it happened very fast. But it's really an incredible model that I can say like, I've met a lot of companies that do similar things, but I haven't met anyone else that does all the things that we do. And really, like you said earlier, Matt, is the medical caregiving. So that is something that is so needed. We are, the bulk of our business is that medical caregiving. So we can do, all of our caregivers can do the same things other companies do. We help with activities of daily living, getting dressed, bathed, housekeeping, meal prep, all of those things. But for our clients that have maybe those medical needs, such as catheters, ostomies, chronic wounds, we actually train our caregivers one-on-one to be able to help manage those.
Wow.
Whereas other companies can't necessarily do that. So I feel like that's huge in our world because, ideally, yes, all of our clients would be perfectly healthy,
Sure.
elderly people at home, but that's just not the reality. And so we want to be able to kind of bridge that gap with like I said, that medical aspect. I am a PA. I have a full-time RN that works with me. And so she and I both use our skills to train our caregivers to do some of these tasks. And then if there's ever, the other thing that's nice about what we do is if there's ever a need that a client has that maybe is more of a skilled need, like such as medication administration, we can do that as well. But that's done by myself or my nurse. So we try to get our caregivers on board with being able to do whatever we feel like is appropriate with them helping to manage. But then if there is something that needs more of a licensed professional, one of us can do it. So we really feel like there's kind of nothing we can't do, which is a good feeling. And then the other half of our business is doing mobile IV therapy and mobile urgent care. So I'm a PA, so I evaluate the client, make sure that it's safe to give them an IV, make sure they're a good candidate. Then we administer IVs. We have everything from plain saline to vitamin IVs. Or if someone they think they have the flu and they want to get tested, we can come in the home and do all that as well.
Got it. That's awesome. Yeah, it makes me think, well, we talk a lot about aging in place.
Right.
Well, it's hard to age in place if you're going to the doctor 3 to 5 times a week. That's not really in place, right? That's a lot of back and forth and those type of things. So you definitely can make it more convenient, but also just safer for the person. How many times have you heard of someone falling, going in and out of the doctor or those type of things?
Yeah. And we one of the things we really harp on, and I know a lot of and other companies do the same thing, but really a lot of our job is peace of mind for not only the clients, but their families. I want families to know that their loved one is being cared for appropriately.
Sure.
And also too, like something that's kind of funny that's come up a few times recently is clients will say, well, mom gets nervous. And so kind of we feel like our only option is to take her to the doctor to get something checked out. And I kind of try to tell them, well, hey, y'all call me first. Let me talk to you and try to kind of filter out concerns. And I have no problem saying, yes, you do need to go to the doctor. But if it's something that I feel like is safe to manage at home or is probably not something that needs a doctor right now, I try to help families kind of guide them in that way.
Sure.
Part of our services, we're available 24/7. So when our clients sign up with us, they can call us with any concerns or questions. And so that also kind of gives that peace of mind. So if there's something is this something that needs to be dealt with tonight, or is it something that can wait tomorrow? I want to kind of help families in that decision-making process.
That's awesome. That makes sense. Maybe could you give us some examples of what type of things are outside the scope of what you guys do, and maybe some typical things from the very basic? I think you mentioned the meal preps and those type of things all the way up to diagnosis.
So one thing I tell our families, I get asked this a lot because of the medical aspect. Sometimes it's a little muddy. People are kind of like, are you primary care?
Right.
We are not primary care. We work with primary care. So, we do everything, like you said, from the basic caregiving needs, getting dressed, bathed, food, things like that, all the way up to like I can do a catheter change. We can administer medications. We can evaluate chronic wounds, things that kind of, we can check blood pressure. So if someone says, hey, my mom's acting funny, will you go over and check her blood pressure? Yes, absolutely. And that's where we, I think, are beneficial. What I feel like is, I don't want to say out of our scope, but kind of out of our scope, but I can help with is, let's say I go over and check mom's blood pressure and it is high. I can call the family and say, hey, I'm going to call the doctor's office and talk to them and ask them what they want to do. So I don't want to necessarily manage her blood pressure because that's not my job, her primary course, but I want to utilize my medical background to step in and say, hey, let me take this off your plate. I'll call them, discuss this with them directly, get guidance, and then we'll go in kind of thing. Same with wound care. We want to help with wound care. We want to do basic wound care. I had a client a couple weeks ago that had a chronic wound. She has a wound care specialist that is seeing her regularly and managing this wound. But I actually spoke with the wound care specialist and said, hey, what do you want me to do? What do I need to do to keep this healthy throughout the week? What do you want me to look for that I would need to call you? And so I feel like that background, my medical background, while those things might be out of my scope as a provider, I'm able to be involved and still be able to kind of help make medical decisions based on my knowledge.
Nice. That's great. Well, this wouldn't be in the house, but I should connect you with a chiropractor. He has, it works so well that I haven't even taken the time to learn about it. It's just this red laser that's a miracle laser. So it heals diabetic type wounds and it fixes joints. I couldn't lift with my shoulder. One worked, one didn't. And we've been, after about 10 treatments, it somehow heals this infrared laser. But a lot of his big breakthroughs have been wounds, talking about people going to wound care, having trouble, and this like 10 minutes with this laser on it, and next thing you know, it starts healing up.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot more technical background that you would love to know that I don't want to know. I just want to know if it works.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's in Franklin, so he'd be a good contact for you.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. You handle all that. Tell me a little bit more, maybe if you could give us, so people can kind of put it concrete in their mind, maybe a couple success stories would be awesome. Just like, hey, we met some people, they were in this situation, we were able to do this, this, and this, and then here's where they are now. Would be great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. We had one that I can just think of off the top of my mind, a patient that had a ostomy he's had it for 10 years from Crohn's disease. He's been managing it. He has a history of a traumatic brain injury. So he's very much aware and fully there, but has some short-term memory loss. So he is in a routine. He has his thing. He's managing his ostomy. Well, he was having trouble with it. Went to the ER multiple times for it because it was bleeding. That's when the family got us involved and said, hey, he's got this new bag. He's having anxiety. He's never dealt with this before.
Wow.
Help us. We can't find these bags. We need y'all to come over. Please, please, please. So I called the doctor's office. I got new orders put in. I got them to place orders for these new bags so we could get these ostomy bags for him. We went over to his apartment and evaluated it, measured it. Turns out he actually didn't need the new bags. His old bags were fine.
Wow.
So I talked to the family. I said, hey, I think we're going to be fine. Everything's good. But we went back and saw him a few times and kind of guided him in ways he could be more careful with his ostomy to prevent it from bleeding. Because basically he was having all these unnecessary ER visits because just there was a little lack of understanding on what to do with it. So we got him in a place where now he's back using his old bag, which he's comfortable with. He knows what to do, what to look for, and we're avoiding these ER visits now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a really cool one. And then I'm trying to think. I mean, we had one client who they hired us on for caregiving. She had been in the hospital, a very independent lady, and but they were worried about her getting back home and being by herself. And what I told her was, my goal is to get you back to where you were. I don't want you to need us. I want you to be independent. No elderly person ever wants to be told, hey, your independence is getting taken away.
Sure.
So, and I don't want them to have it taken away. So basically we got her home. We only worked with her for 2 weeks for caregiving, and basically just said, hey, let us help you get back to where you feel like you're good. And then after that, she was great. And I honestly, I felt like that was a huge success because, again, she was a very independent woman before. And my goal from the beginning with her was to get her back to her independence. And we did. And now she's doing fine. And she's back to being by herself and doing all the things she wanted to do. So that's kind of two different ways we've helped that I felt like we're both really good endings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, your goal is to work yourself out of a job, and then you go find somebody else to help.
Totally.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Emily, maybe share with us some of your, I like to call them superpowers, or your qualities that's allowing you to manage the business, right? So because you're running a business, but also keep your patient, client focused, and then also manage the team. Maybe tell us some of your qualities.
I am your typical medical type A person. So I would consider myself efficient. I'm a good multitasker. But honestly, I think my superpower right now is I have a nurse that's working with me who's incredible. And she is just as driven and motivated to make this business a success as I am. Her name's Bailey, and yeah, she's amazing. She's a go-getter, and she, like I said, she makes my job easy. So I really think I have to give her the credit right now. She's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, sometimes on the weekends, people say Bailey's is their superpower, but that's a different type of Bailey's,
Yeah. But I can help with that one with an IV on Monday morning.
So you've got a Bailey's, that's a superpower. That's pretty.
That's right.
That's pretty awesome. And now, how for all those people out there that need a Bailey to keep their business going, how'd you find her? Where'd you guys meet?
She, through a mutual friend, she actually lives with a girl that I know, and I found out about her, was told that she was amazing, and I basically just bothered her until she took a job.
That's so cool.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's been great.
That's really awesome. I met her as well, and I will vouch for her. She's great. Yeah, she's great. Well, maybe tell us when you meet a client, give some background on any resources that you may recommend. I'm sure one of the resources is working with you guys, but sometimes they need added things, either the family to read or learn or look up. So is there any resources that you recommend people look into that are serving seniors?
I've gotten so many resources from different people, just information. The Alzheimer's of Tennessee has really great resources. I've directed a lot of families to them, especially families dealing with obviously dementia or Alzheimer's. The elder care coach, that's also been a big thing that I encourage people to look into. And kind of my MO for telling families is hey, if you don't know something, or you're struggling, or you're stressed or confused, tell me and I'll find an answer. The Williamson County Geriatric Council has been absolutely incredible with networking and meeting people. And I feel like I've got such a good group of people, a pool of people I can reach out to and say, hey, I need someone that needs I have someone that needs this, can you help me? Because then that person will go, yeah, or here's this, or no, I'm not, you should call this person. And honestly, it's kind of I don't necessarily have things that I give everybody, but I say, hey, come ask me if you have a question. I'll find the answer. If I don't know it, someone else will.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You're a walking, talking referral machine, it sounds like.
I try to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, now tell us a little bit about, so a lot of people started to connect about the in-home care side of it. So it sounds like you guys have caregivers that can do that, right?
Yes.
Maybe tell us a little bit about the in-home care side, and then tell us when it transitions into the medical, and then maybe how long people hire you for. Do they do it just for like a task? Do they hire you for hours or days, or how does all that work?
So our caregiving and our medical caregiving very much overlap. I mean, we can do clients, we can serve clients that don't have any medical needs. That can be just your kind of typical caregiving client, your mom that's wandering, that needs someone to help, someone to go run errands, get groceries, take the doctor's appointment. We do all of that. To me, it's more looking at it like it's an added bonus. Because a lot of families I think they feel like if their family member has a medical need, well, then they automatically need to go to an assisted living facility or like a skilled nursing facility or something like that. And I think that's where we really stand out, because we say, hey, no, just because they have a catheter or an ostomy, they can be home. We can do that. So to us, it's really kind of all in the same. And then our skilled nursing is just kind of kind of more as needed. It might be someone that's totally healthy, but got a UTI and needs an IV antibiotics for a week. Well, we can pop in and do that as well. So for us, it's kind of all one big model.
Okay, that makes sense. And then if someone's watching this and maybe they're not a senior or not dealing with senior, but they have connections in the senior world, where does a lot of your business come from? Who would be a good person to send this recording to? Where do you get your referrals?
Honestly, I have told all the other caregiving companies and hospice companies, we want to work with y'all. We all have caregiving clients, and I tell them, I don't want to, and everyone in the business is so amazing. Like, it's really not this feeling of like competition. It's just like, hey, how do we give this person the best care? So, I do get a lot of referrals from other caregiving companies simply because they might have a client that does have those medical needs that they can't manage. But we can also work with those companies, like, for example, hospice. If they have a client on hospice that needs medications, and the hospice nurses aren't going out there every single day, or family isn't comfortable giving the medicine, they could have us come in and help with medication administration. So really, anyone working in the elderly world is a great referral source for us, but also anyone that's honestly in medicine. We see a lot of patients or clients that are not caregiving clients. Like, we have people that hire us just for the skilled nursing, such as, for example, I've had a lot of patients that are post-op, that are healthy people having elective surgery, that just wants a nurse to come and help in that immediate post-op period. And so we can come on and do that too. So we don't have to have someone on as a caregiving client in order to provide those nursing services.
That makes sense. And Franklin's not a bad spot for that,
Right.
Keith Urban may need somebody to come watch him.
You never know. I mean, I'm ready though.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that makes sense. Maybe if you could share as we're wrapping up here, Emily, what areas do you serve? And then how people would get in touch with you, if they're thinking about their mom or thinking about their family member.
Yes. So we are essentially in all of Williamson County, I'd say. Brentwood down to Spring Hill, and then over to Nolensville and Fairview. So pretty large area. There is a Nashville franchise as well. So if someone's watching this and they say, oh, well, I want that, but I'm in Nashville, you can reach out to me and I can get you in touch with the Nashville franchise. But basically, the best way is to call. Our number is 615-416-2550. And I think one good thing about us is you're going to talk to most likely me. And if it's not me, it's probably going to be my nurse Bailey. We don't have a call center or anything like that. When people call, they literally call my cell phone. They can call, they can text us if it's between 8 and 5. That's the best way to get in touch with us. Or visiting our website. It's homeRNcare.com/Franklin. And on that website, there's a way to submit like a questionnaire if someone's looking for caregiving or skilled nursing, and we'll reach out to them within the hour.
That's awesome. Okay, that makes sense. And then, Emily, anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, you'd want to tell the
No,
audience?
I think you nailed it. We do one thing. We do IVs 7 days a week. So our normal business hours are Monday through Friday. But if someone does need an IV on a weekend, we can do it. So
Okay, gotcha. If the dangerous Bailey causes problems on the weekend,
that's
how
right.
the real Bailey can come help them.
That's right. I did do a wedding party this past weekend, and we did 5 IVs in like 2 or 3 hours. So
Wow.
we can do big groups too.
Now, were they preparing for what was going to happen at the wedding, or was this post wedding?
This was post rehearsal dinner, pre-wedding.
Oh my gosh! So they were teeing up for the next round, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. It was a fun crowd.
That is. Hey, you know what? You need to partner with a friend that does Botox, and you could have had a heck of a time.
I know. We'd be busy.
You would have been busy. That's so cool. Well, what I love about what you said too is that you have to make money to stay in business, but you also mentioned several times we want to get people back on their feet so they can go do their own thing, which that includes not using you anymore.
Right.
But if you do a good job, you take care of them, they're going to tell someone else, and you believe in your mission enough to not be worried about where your next client's coming from. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, and then I'm excited about hearing your story because some of the stuff that you guys do is probably covered with insurance, and some of it that you do is probably more private pay, if that makes sense.
Yes. So we are totally private pay, but we do help with reimbursement for like long-term care insurance. And and we've had other clients actually be able to get IVs reimbursed from their HSA. So.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. So what we like to say is when that's why we like to talk to people like you, because we can use the house to stay in the house, because so many of these people have tons of home equity. They own their house or almost own their house. They just don't understand that you can actually use a little bit of that, still own your house, still your house. You can use a little bit to pay for things like you. And that's where we come in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a unique business, and it sounds like you guys are doing a great job making people feel comfortable. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Hey, you're so welcome, and thanks for being a great guest. We'll have you on again.
All right, sounds good.
And thank you for watching the Serving Senior podcast, where we highlight awesome people like Emily that help seniors thrive in retirement. Thanks again. We'll talk with you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of retirement mortgage solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniourspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, and depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.